Sorry, I'll turn my music off. What's going on? Nothing, I'm just, getting ready to go out. Oh yeah, just going out with a couple of friends. I don't know exactly what we're doing, but I don't know. We'll see. How about you? What are you doing tonight? You don't want to go out? That's fine. Well, what are you gonna do if you just stay in? Have you started any new shows that you like? Fair enough. I wish I could stay in with you, but I made these plans, so I don't know. I'll probably come back early, though. Are you okay? You know I can tell when something's bothering you. I'm your sister. What is it? Come on, tell me. So you're just kind of feeling down for no reason? Or what is the reason? Tell me about it. Well, what do you think would make you feel better? You're right. Things always seem better in the morning. So maybe if you get a good night's rest, you'll feel better. Hashtag self-care. Oh yeah, no, totally. You can hang out with me until I leave. You can come with me if you want to, you know that. Okay, well, if you change your mind, just let me know. I don't know where we're going. I honestly don't know what's happening tonight. I just know that I made plans earlier in the week, so we'll see. We shall see. How about your friends? Is anybody doing anything tonight? Do they invite you? Yeah, you're more an introvert like Mom. There's nothing wrong with that. I think being introverted is great. Have a lot of good alone time. You get to know yourself really well. And that is a-okay. But it's always good to get out every once in a while, so maybe you could go the next time they ask you, just so they don't stop asking, you know? But whatever you think is best, of course. I'm just trying to do like a minimal makeup look. I don't know. What do you think? Do you think I should do liner or just like some eyeshadow? Okay, I'll do just some eyeshadow. Where's my brush? Oh, there it is. I really like the way that you do your makeup. But we do have slightly different faces, so I'll do a little bit of the shadow on the rims. Is that what you meant? Okay, good. Alright. Right there. And right there. Oh, dang it. I messed up. I hate it when I do that. You know, I don't think I'm meant for makeup. I don't think it's meant for me. I'm not meant for it. We just aren't meant to go together. Oh gosh. Well, I'll see if I can fix this. Oh goodness. So, how is school going? Is that going well? Okay. Well, sounds like you're doing a good job, though, even though it's stressful. That's all you can do. You know, like, at the end of the day, all you can do is your best. So, don't be too hard on yourself. Just trust the process, and you will be A-okay. You're really smart, you know. You are. You're very smart. And you are much more self-disciplined than the rest of us. So, you have that going for you. Okay, I think this eyeshadow is pretty much not happening. Oh, I got a text message. I can feel it. Where did I put my phone? Just, oh, there it is. Yeah, they're messaging me. Hold on. Oh. Apparently, a lot of people are backing out. Yeah, now they're just gonna go hang out at a bar. Yeah, I'm not sure if I want to go now. I'll continue getting ready though, just in case. I'll think about it. Yeah, no, I will go. I don't really want to go hang out at a bar just to do nothing, you know. It's not really my cup of tea. I would like to go, like, do something, you know. Okay, that's looking a little bit better. Almost done. Is there anything else on your mind? You seem kind of quiet. You know, I really admire you for trying to keep it all in and be strong. It's really good, but you shouldn't be afraid to be vulnerable and let at least me know that you're not doing okay. How can I help you? Hey, it's okay. you're stressed. But surely it's not as bad as all that. We all feel overwhelmed sometimes. You're doing a great job. Hey, it's okay. Oh, do you need a tissue? No, you're good. You know what? Listen. I know I said I was gonna go out tonight, but I'm not really feeling it, and I think that we could benefit from spending some time together, and I want to cheer you up. Now I know I don't have to do that, but I want to, so let's do something together, just the two of us. How about, I used to really like it when I would read to you when you were younger. How about I get one of our favorite books together, Harry Potter, and I'll read to you, and we can just have some good time together. Does that sound like something you would like? Awesome. Okay, let's do that. I'll just go get the book and then we can start. Okay. But first I should text them and tell them I'm not going. Hold on. No, honestly, I don't regret it. You're more important. To come out tonight after all. Change of plans. Gotcha. Next time. Okay. Done. Let's go read. I am ready if you are. Are you comfortable? You sure? Come on, let me get some of this blanket for you. Okay. Let's see, where should we start? Alright. Okay. Would you like to start somewhere in the middle of the book to just jump right in? Okay. This chapter is chapter 11, Hermione's Helping Hand. As Hermione had predicted, the 6 years' free periods were not the hours of blissful relaxation Ron had anticipated, but times in which to attempt to keep up with the vast amount of homework they were being sent. Not only were they studying as though they had exams every day, but the lessons themselves had become more demanding than ever before. Harry barely understood half of what Professor McGonagall said to them these days. Even Hermione had to ask her to repeat instructions once or twice. Incredibly, and to Hermione's increasing resentment, Harry's best subject had suddenly become potions, thanks to the Half-Blood Prince. Do you remember that part? Okay, the Half-Blood Prince was basically a anonymous person who had written in a lot of side notes and changed the different instructions for Harry's potion book. It was a hand-me-down potion book, and they don't know who made the edits. Yeah, you remember now? Okay. I'm pretty sure that's actually this is the Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince. It's a key part of the book. Non-verbal spells were now expected not only in defense against the dark arts, but in charms and transfiguration too. Harry frequently looked over at his classmates in the common room or at mealtimes to see them purple in the face and straining as though they had overdosed on you-know-poo. But he knew that they were really struggling to make spells work without saying incantations aloud. It was a relief to get outside into the greenhouses. They were dealing with more dangerous plants than ever in herbology, but at least they were still allowed to swear loudly, even if the venomous tentacula seized them unexpectedly from behind. One result of their enormous workload and the frantic hours of practicing nonverbal spells was that Harry, Ron, and Hermione had so far been unable to find time to go and visit Hagrid. He had stopped coming to meals at the staff table, an ominous sign, and on the few occasions when they had passed him in the corridors or out in the grounds, he mysteriously failed to notice them or hear their greetings. "We've got to go and explain," said Hermione, looking up at Hagrid's huge empty chair at the staff table the following Saturday at breakfast. "We got Quidditch tryouts this morning," said Ron, "and we're supposed to be practicing that Agumenti charm from Flitwick. Anyway, explain what? How are we going to tell him we hated his stupid subject?" "We didn't hate it," said Hermione. "Speak for yourself. I haven't forgotten Scroots," said Ron darkly. "And I'm telling you now, we've had a narrow escape. You didn't hear him going on about his gormless brother. We'd have been teaching Grop how to tie his shoelaces if we'd stayed." "I hate not talking to Hagrid," said Hermione, looking upset. "We'll go down after Quidditch," Harry assured her. He too was missing Hagrid, although, like Ron, he thought that they were better off without Grop in their lives. But trials might take all the morning, the number of people who have applied. He felt slightly nervous at confronting the first hurdle of his captaincy. "I don't know why the team's this popular all of a sudden." "Oh, come on, Harry," said Hermione, suddenly impatient. "It's not Quidditch that's popular. It's you. You've never been more interesting, and frankly, you've never been more fanciful." I love this part of Harry Potter because I feel like people don't think of Harry Potter as being like a stud, but in the books, like, he was a stud. I'm not saying that Daniel Radcliffe wasn't hot. Like, do you think he was hot? Like, yeah, he's not unattractive, but you know what I mean. Okay. Ron gagged on a large piece of kipper. Do you know what kipper is? Oh, me neither. Okay. Hermione spared him one look of disdain before turning back to Harry. "Everyone knows you've been telling the truth now, don't they? The whole wizarding world has had to admit that you were right about Voldemort being back, and that you really have fought him twice in the last 2 years and escaped both times. And now they're calling you the chosen one. Well, come on, can't you see why people are fascinated by you?" Harry was finding the Great Hall very hot all of a sudden, even though the ceiling still looked cold and rainy. "And you've been through all that persecution from the Ministry when they were trying to make you out like you were an unstable little liar. You can still see the marks on the back of your hand where that evil woman made you write with your own blood, but you stuck to your story anyway." "You can see where those brains got hold of me in the Ministry. Look," said Ron, shaking back his sleeves. "And it doesn't hurt that you've grown about a foot over the summer either," Hermione finished, ignoring Ron. "I'm tall," said Ron, inconsequentially. The post owls arrived, swooping down through rain-flecked windows, scattering everyone with droplets of water. Most people were receiving more posts than usual. Anxious parents were keen to hear from their children and to reassure them in turn that all was well at home. Harry had received no mail since the start of term. His only regular correspondent was now dead, and although he had hoped that Lupin might write occasionally, he had so far been disappointed. He was very surprised, therefore, to see the snowy white Hedwig circling amongst all the brown and grey owls. She landed in front of him carrying a large square package. A moment later, an identical package landed in front of Ron, crushing beneath it his minuscule and exhausted owl, Pigwidgeon. "Ah," said Harry, unwrapping the parcel to reveal a new copy of Advanced Potion Making, fresh from Flourish and Blots. "Oh, good," said Hermione, delighted. "Now you can give back that gratified copy back." "Are you mad?" said Harry. "I'm keeping it. Look, I've thought it out." He pulled the old copy of Advanced Potion Making out of his bag and tapped the cover with his wand, muttering, "Defendo." The cover fell off. He did the same thing with the brand new book. Hermione looked scandalized. He then swapped the covers, tapped each, and said, "Reparo." There sat the prince's copy, disguised as a new book, and there sat the fresh copy from Flourish and Blots, looking thoroughly second-hand. "I'll give Slughorn back the new one. He can't complain. It cost 9 galleons. Hermione pressed her lips together, looking angry and disapproving, but was distracted by a third owl landing in front of her, carrying that day's copy of the Daily Prophet. She unfolded it hastily and scanned the front page. "Anyone we know dead?" asked Ron in a determinedly casual voice. He posed the same question every time Hermione opened her paper. "No, but there have been more Dementor attacks," said Hermione. "And an arrest." "Excellent. Who?" said Harry, thinking about exchange. "Stan Shunpike," said Hermione. "What?" said Harry, startled. "Stanley Shunpike, conductor on the popular wizarding conveyance, the Night Bus, has been arrested on suspicion of Death Eater activity. Mr. Shunpike, 21, was taken into custody last night after a raid on his Clapham home." "Stan Shunpike, a Death Eater," said Harry, remembering the spotty youth he had first met 3 years ago. "No way." "He might have been put on the Imperious curse," said Ron reasonably. "You can never tell." "It doesn't look like it," said Hermione, who was still reading. "It says here he was arrested after he was overheard talking about the Death Eater secret plans in a pub." She looked out with a troubled expression on her face. "If he was under the Imperious curse, he'd hardly stand gossiping about their plans, would he?" "It sounds like he was trying to make out he knew more than he did," said Ron. "Isn't he the one who claimed he was going to become Minister of Magic when he was trying to chat up those Vila?" "Yeah, that's him," said Harry. "I don't know what they're playing at, taking Stan seriously." "They probably want to look as though they're doing something," said Hermione, frowning. "People are terrified. You know the Patil twins' parents want them to go home, and Eloise Midgen has already been withdrawn. My father picked her up last night." "What?" said Ron, goggling at Hermione. "But Hogwarts is safer than their homes, bound to be. We've got aurors and all those extra protective spells, and we've got Dumbledore." "I don't think we've got him all the time," said Hermione very quietly, glancing toward the staff table over the top of the Prophet. "Haven't you noticed? His seat's been empty as often as Hagrid's this past week." Harry and Ron looked up at the staff table. The headmaster's chair was indeed empty. Now Harry came to think of it, he had not seen Dumbledore since their private lesson a week ago. "I think he's left the school to do something with the Order," said Hermione in a low voice. "I mean, it's all looking serious, isn't it?" Harry and Ron did not answer, but Harry knew that they were all thinking the same thing. There had been a horrible incident the day before when Hannah Abbott had been taken out of herbology to be told her mother had been found dead, and they had not seen Hannah since. When they left the Gryffindor table 5 minutes later to head down to the Quidditch pitch, they passed Lavender Brown and Parvati Patil. Remembering what Hermione had said about the Patil twins' parents, Harry was unsurprised to see that the two best friends were whispering together, looking distressed. What did surprise him was that when Ron drew level with them, Parvati suddenly nudged Lavender, who looked around and gave Ron a wide smile. Ron blinked at her and then returned the smile uncertainly. His walk instantly became something more like a strut. Harry resisted the temptation to laugh, remembering that Ron had refrained from doing so after Malfoy had broken Harry's nose. Hermione, however, looked cold and distant all the way down to the stadium through the cool, misty drizzle, and departed to find a place in the stands without wishing Ron good luck. As Harry had expected, the trials took most of the morning. Are you still comfortable? Are you sure? Can I get you anything? No. You're looking a bit sleepy. How much longer do you want to read? Okay. I'm going to read a couple more pages. I'm glad that I stayed in. Yeah. Sometimes it's good just to have some quality time, relax, and return to childhood things that make you really happy. Yeah. It's been nice. Okay, I'll read a couple more pages. Where was I? Okay. As Harry had expected, the trials took most of the morning. Half of Gryffindor House seemed to have turned up, from first years who were nervously clutching a selection of the dreadful old school brooms, to seventh years who towered over the rest, looking coolly intimidating. The latter included a large, wiry-haired boy Harry recognized immediately from the Hogwarts Express. "We met on the train, in old Sluggy's compartment," he said confidently, stepping out of the crowd to shake Harry's hand. "Cormac McLaggen, keeper." "You didn't try out last year, did you?" asked Harry, taking note of the breadth of McLaggen, and thinking that he would probably block all 3 goal hoops without even moving. "I was in the hospital wing when they held the trials," said McLaggen, with something of a swagger. "Ate a pound of doxy eggs for a bet." "Right," said Harry. "Well, if you wait over there." He pointed over to the edge of the pitch, close to where Hermione was sitting. He thought he saw a flicker of annoyance pass over McLaggen's face and wondered whether McLaggen expected preferential treatment because they were both old Sluggy's favorites. Harry decided to start with a basic test, asking all applicants for the team to divide into groups of 10 and fly once around the pitch. This was a good decision. The first 10 was made up of first years, and it could not have been plainer that they had hardly ever flown before. Only one boy managed to remain airborne for more than a few seconds, and he was so surprised he promptly crashed into one of the goalposts. The second group was comprised of 10 of the silliest girls Harry had ever encountered, who, when he blew his whistle, merely fell about giggling and clutching one another. Romilda Vane was amongst them. Romilda Vane had a big crush on Harry, if you don't remember. And she was the one that wanted to smuggle him a love potion. I can't remember if that's happened yet. I'm pretty sure she hasn't tried to smuggle it to him yet. Yeah, you remember. Okay. The third group had a pile-up halfway around the pitch. Most of the fourth group had come without broomsticks. The fifth group were Hufflepuffs. "If there's anyone else here who's not from Gryffindor," roared Harry, who was starting to get seriously annoyed, "leave now, please." There was a pause, then a couple of little Ravenclaws went sprinting off the pitch, snorting with laughter. Oh, that's just so mean. Oh, gosh. After 2 hours, many complaints, and several tantrums, one involving a crash Comet 260 and several broken teeth. Oh dear. Harry had found himself 3 chasers. Katie Bell returned to the team after an excellent trial. A new find, Demelza Robbins, who was particularly good at dodging bludgers, and Ginny Weasley, who had outflown all the competition and scored 7 goals to boot. Pleased though he was with his choices, Harry had also shouted himself hoarse at the many complainers, and was now enduring a similar battle with the rejected beaters. "That's my final decision, and if you don't get out of the way for the keepers, I'll hex you," he bellowed. Neither of his chosen beaters had the old brilliance of Fred and George, but he was still reasonably pleased with them. Jimmy Peaks, a short but broad-chested third year, who had managed to raise a lump the size of an egg on the back of Harry's head with a ferociously hit bludger, and Richie Coote, who looked weedy but aimed well. They now joined Katie, Demelza, and Ginny in the stands to watch the selection of their last team member. Harry had deliberately left the trial of the keepers until last, hoping for an emptier stadium and less pressure on all concerned. Unfortunately, however, all the rejected players and a number of people who had come down to watch after a lengthy breakfast had joined the crowd by now, so that it was larger than ever. As each keeper flew up to the goal hoops, the crowd roared and jeered in equal measure. Harry glanced over at Ron, who had always had a problem with nerves. Harry had hoped that winning their final match last term might have cured it, but apparently not. Ron was a delicate shade of green. None of the first 5 applicants saved more than 2 goals apiece. To Harry's great disappointment, Cormac McLagan saved 4 penalties out of 5. On the last one, however, he shot off in completely the wrong direction. The crowd laughed and booed, and McLagan returned to the ground, grinding his teeth. Ron looked ready to pass out as he mounted his clean sweep 11. "Good luck," cried a voice from the stands. Harry looked around, expecting to see Hermione, but it was Lavender Brown. He would have quite liked to have hidden his face in his hands, as she did a moment later, but thought as the captain he ought to show slightly more grit. And so he turned to watch Ron do his trial. Yet he need not have worried. Ron saved 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 penalties in a row. Delighted and resisting joining in the cheers of the crowd with difficulty, Harry returned to McLagan to tell him that most unfortunately Ron had beaten him, only to find McLagan's red face inches from his own. He stepped back hastily. "His sister didn't really try," said McLagan menacingly. There was a vein pulsing in his temple like the one Harry had often admired in Uncle Vernon's. "She gave him an easy save." "Rubbish," said Harry coldly. That was the one he nearly missed. McLagan took a step nearer Harry, who stood his ground this time. "Give me another go." "No," said Harry. "You've had your go. You saved 4, Ron saved 5. Ron's keeper. He won it fair and square. Get out of my way." He thought for a moment that McLagan might punch him, but he contented himself with an ugly grimace and stormed away, growling what sounded like threats to thin air. Harry turned around to find his new team beaming at him. "Well done. You flew really well." "You did brilliantly, Ron." This time it really was Hermione running toward them from the stands. Harry saw Lavender walking off the pitch, arm in arm with Parvati, a rather grumpy expression on her face. Ron looked extremely pleased with himself, and even taller than usual, as he grinned at the team and at Hermione. Such a good book. Alright. What time is it? Oh my goodness. It's late. I'm getting a little bit tired, are you? Yeah. I think I'm gonna head to bed. I really enjoyed that. That was fun. I just want to let you know that if you ever feel like this again, for whatever reason, never hesitate to come talk to me. Okay. Good. I want you to know